and welcome to a new episode of the Amazing Minecraft Podcast, episode number 82. I have been away for a long time, about like 6 months or so. The reason for this, I was lazy. The other reason is because I have been preparing very strategically for my newest Minecraft undertaking, one might say. Managed to cop PS5 in July, and I use this, and I basically this is just me preparing, So I got Elden Ring for the PS5, managed to get that platinum trophy for the Elden Ring, beat every boss mainly. I managed to defeat Elden Ring 3 times. Now, you may be asking, what could he possibly be preparing for? What in Minecraft is so challenging that he had to go and beat a Souls game to even be prepared to take such a challenge on? Well, the answer is RLCraft. Now, you may not know what this is, so I'm going to break it down for you. RLCraft is a mod pack created by someone who clearly hates himself, and it is designed to just be terrible and immensely difficult. Instead of being your fun mod pack, like, maybe a crazy craft or something, it does not do such things. In fact, it is the opposite of fun, some might even say. Let's go into a few examples. First of all, you're going to die, like a lot. Everything is there to kill you, and you're just going to die a crazy amount of times. In my first hour or so playing, I think I died like 8 times or something stupid. Managed to get turned into KFC by a dragon 3 times in a row because I kept respawning next to it. Another thing, random respawns. It doesn't make you respawn at the same point unless you have a bed, in which case you do respawn in your bed, so I guess it's not completely terrible. But otherwise, you'll respawn in a 10,000 by 10,000 area, so you're never finding where you were again if you die, unless you got a waste on that important. Anyway, another thing, thirst. Thirst is a thing, so now you might be like, oh, well, that's not too bad. I'll just go to my nearby river and chug some water whenever I may get thirsty. Wrong. Parasites, those will get you. Thirst, because the water is dirty, apparently, even though it looks crystal clear to me. So you're like, all right, well, then I'll put it in a water bottle. Wrong. Not how you're going to do this. It'll still be dirty. Well, I'll put it in a custom thing that they made. Oh, it's a canteen, you say? How easy to make? Oh, it's actually pretty easy. Only like 5 leather. Wrong. It's still dirty. You got to make a charcoal purifier. Or it's like a filter, anyway, that you put on the canteen. And then, only then, can you drink water without the fear of literally killing yourself. That took me like 3 hours. Anyway, moving on to tools. Well, it's like, all right, I'll just punch some trees to, take down, just regular Minecraft. Wrong. Punching a tree will take about 10 minutes. The whole tree will fall and give you nothing, or fall on you and kill you instantly. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go get some gravel. You're going to want to punch the gravel until you get flint. You're going to whack the flint on some hard things to get into flint shards. You're going to craft it into a knife. And then you can scratch the grass for some fibers. You're going to want to craft that with another flint shard to get a flint hatchet. And then, and only then, will you be able to chop down your first wood. Now you'd be like, oh, I'm really grooving. You might be able to chop down the wood, grab some cobblestone. At this point, you're feeling pretty vanilla. You're like, all right, time to go mine some iron. Wrong. You need mining level 4 to do such things. You're like, mining level 4? What are you even talking about? This isn't Hypixel Skyblock. This is regular Minecraft. Well, not really. But anyway, there's a pretty extensive skill tree. Everything goes up to level 32, and it takes forever to level up. I'm going to need some form of XP farm if I'm to get this. But anyway, once you get that, then you'll really be cooking in the mining section. You'll be still dying, so you're like, all right, so it's time to get some armor. You might find some leather, just killing some sheep and some cows. You'll get yourself some leather armor, which doesn't actually have any requirements attached to it. But then you're going to want to get some iron armor. Wrong. You're going to need defense 8. Now, you level up by spending real experience, like experience points in just your XP bar. Level 2, you take 2 levels, level 3, 3 levels, so on and so forth. Problem. There is not enough levels in the early game to level up everything you need. For example, to get iron, you're going to need mining level 4. To get enough XP to get an iron sword to do any amount of damage, you're going to need attack level 8, which is going to require a lot of mining. But on top of that, you're still going to be dying, so you're going to want defense level 8 to use iron armor. It's 16 for a diamond. That takes an age. So anyway, once you finally get that, you might be thinking you're chilling, but you're not, because everything is insanely powerful, and basically everything will one-tap you, and you might be like, well, I have 10 hearts, so, I should be able to withstand a couple things. Wrong, because local damage is a thing. Basically, all of your body parts have separate hit points, and if either your head or your chest area goes to 0, you just straight up die because, mortal wounds. So skeletons, they headshot you, you're dead. They body shot you, you might live, but you're still probably dead. So you're going to want some armor to avoid that, and also just in general, you're going to die even if you're still on like 5 hearts or whatever. You can get more hearts using heart fragment container things, but I haven't found any yet because they're pretty rare, and they're deep underground. Might I mention, the further you go underground, the colder you get, because temperature, get too hot, you die, get too cold, you die. And that about sums it up. Also, if any of your other body parts go down to 0, you start getting really bad debuffs, like slowness 5 if you break your legs or feet, or like weakness 8 if your arms go out of commission. It's going to be a rough time. But anyway, after all of that early game, which is arguably some of the hardest garbage ever invented, you're into the middle game. Now, I'm not very experienced with this because I've only played for like 3 hours. But from what I've gathered, it's not actually as bad, except for the fact that it's still bad. Because beating the Ender Dragon is not the end of RLCraft. It's only the beginning. You need to beat the Ender Dragon to even access RLCraft's first boss, which I can't remember his name, but I think it starts with an R. Anyway, it's this demon guy. Anyway, he's pretty powerful. He will one-shot you unless you have like the strongest armor in the game, and you really don't stand a chance. So you may be wondering, well, strongest armor in the game, obviously diamond armor. Wrong again. Now, first you're going to want to get leather armor. Then you're going to get chainmail armor. Now you might be thinking chainmail armor. Nobody uses chainmail armor because it's not craftable. Wrong again. They changed that. Chainmail armor is now craftable with chainmail plates, which are craftable from 4 iron ingots, which are craftable from, or 4 iron nuggets, which are craftable from 1 iron ingot. So only then will you be able to access the chain armor, and then you should upgrade to iron and to diamond and so forth. But then you're going to want to get serpent armor, from what I hear, which is you get from killing sea serpents, and then the sea serpent scales go into this complex crafting recipe, and then you get serpent armor. And from there, I think you want to get dragon bone armor, which is gotten by killing dragons, because we're in freaking Skyrim now, apparently. All that, and then you might be able to survive the final bosses, but only with the strongest of enchantments. Not just Protection 4, but Advanced Protection 4, which is a thing, because there's like 30 trillion extra enchants in the game at this point. Yeah, this is a big mod pack. I am not sure if I'm going to be able to complete this, but my goal is to beat pretty much everything, get like the best armor, and keep going. Manage to. So in terms of my RL crafting, we start off pretty chilling. One might even say we start running in a certain direction, immediately find a village. Extremely lucky moment. In this village is a waystone. Click it, meaning now it's if you've ever played like RLCraft, I think they're in that, and all the mods as well. I think. Basically, you click it, and from any other waystone, you can teleport to that waystone. So it's pretty helpful. We start setting up shop, except one problem. There's a cockatrice. Now you're like, what's a cockatrice? It's like a bird thing. And you're like, well, easy mode. I'll just outrun it. Wrong. It can shoot you from legitimately a mile. He was almost out of my render distance, and he was still getting me with that wither nausea poison effect that he got me with. Thankfully, he only killed me once, and I never saw him again after almost dying to him like 8 more times. When I'm just chilling by the river, slurping up the poison water, dying to parasites and thirst, but still keeping my thirst in check. And then suddenly, this cockatrice comes out of nowhere to try and take me out. But thankfully, I was able to run away. I tried to kill him once, did not go well. I did about no damage, and he whipped me with his tail and killed me in like 1 shot. Anyway, we continue on. We go a little outside the village, and we find a little house with some loot in it. Not extremely good loot, but more importantly, a bed at this point. This is right before I see the cockatrice, by the way. So now we have a spawn point. We don't need to worry about the stupid 10,000 by 10,000 spawn radius. I also learned about these things called freaking... I can't remember. Anyway, they're pink, and they fly, and they give you regen, which is the only way to regenerate in this game, because, spoiler alert, you don't get health regen. You have to craft band-aids and medkits, which aren't actually that bad. It's just wool and string. But anyway, there is no natural health regen. Health regen is for losers. Healing, eating food does not regen. It just keeps you alive slightly longer. Same for thirst. I haven't actually run out of thirst yet, so I don't know what happens. I think your vision just gets blurrier and blurrier until you can't see anything, and then you die. Hunger, I think, stays relatively the same. If you get too hot, you get hypothermia. No, hyperthermia. Basically, you're too hot and you're dying. You get too cold, you get hypothermia. You're too cold and you're dying. And it follows real life logic. Deserts are hot, mountains are cold, so on and so forth. But also, the higher you get, the colder you get, and the lower you get, the colder you get. So basically, yeah, if you go in the mines, you better be bringing some torches, because standing near torches will, thankfully, give you a little bit of respite from that nasty cold down in the mines. Also, if it gets too dark around you, I think there's just a chance that you just straight up get eaten, because basically what happens is if it gets too dark around you, you get a message at the bottom saying, it's pitch black, you are likely to be eaten by something. Haven't quite figured out what that means, but thankfully I was able to get back into the light before I could be eaten by something. So that was pretty relieving, not gonna lie. Anyway, we managed to get ourselves some leather armor. Now this was pretty important because I was feeling like I was all, getting hit constantly. But now that I had this leather chestplate and leather boots, I felt basically unstoppable. So I decided to go exploring a little bit. Big mistake. A dragon that I didn't see overhead fireballs me into just death. So now I've been turned into KFC once, and I'm like, this is not bad. Unfortunately for me, I just clicked a waystone about 2 seconds ago, so I respawned literally in the fireball that I was just in, immediately turned into KFC again. I'm trying to escape, I'm running, but I'm taking fire damage, which is not good, because local damage. So now I'm on fire, and I burn to death, which is not good. Thankfully, I realized I can punch out fire, because that's still a thing in Minecraft. So I'm able to run away, just narrowly avoiding the dragon that turned me into KFC about 3 seconds prior. Yes, that is the actual death message. It says you're turned into KFC, because that's what I became. So dragon's still around, not going to be able to kill him for a minute until we get a flying mount of our own, which I hear is supposed to be a rock, which is the best one. Spelled R-O-C, not R-O-C-K. It's a bird, apparently. Apparently that's also a really hard process to get one of those, because you need, treats and stuff. Do not know how to get those, problem for later me. Anyway, I continue on. I'm going into the mines at this point, You might be like, oh, you're gonna go caving? Wrong. Also, this mod pack is on 1.12.2, so we are not going to be exploring any big caves. We're not going to be seeing a cool nether. Well, it'll still be a way different nether because mod pack. But we're just doing the old-fashioned staircase out of the bottom of our basement, which is always a safe play. Which is what I thought until I started to get cold as I went down. I'm like, cold. Thankfully, torches. Also, when I first started this, I'm like, all right, we're going to need some torches. So I go back up the stairs, and I'm like, all right, torches. Grabbed it. I did not get torches from, a regular stick and coal. I got an unlit torch. An unlit torch, that's the most useless thing ever. After a little bit of research, I gathered that you either need to put a flint and steel in the same crafting grid or a matchbox. Now, I did not have flint nor steel at this point, because that's what I was going mining to get. Steel. Iron. But I also found that you could use a matchbox, which was just like it was like woolen slabs or something, or string and slabs. I can't remember what it was, but it was really cheap. I was able to get a couple lit torches, go down there, got some iron, came back, almost died of lava a couple times, a good old-fashioned regular Minecraft danger, but since I'm such a pro Minecrafter, was able to avoid such trivial challenges like they were easy, because, pro Minecraft over here. I've beaten it like 4 times now at this point, because in the time that I was not uploading episodes, by the way, if you notice that Gideon isn't here, it's because he's not. He's in the room next. He has been playing way too much Fortnite for his own good. So he's not on the podcast right now, because he is not playing Minecraft. He's still around, but not recording until he can play some Minecraft to speak of, if you know what I'm saying. Anywho, as we go down there, we get the iron. We come back, get the iron, put it in the furnace, and craft ourselves some chainmail armor, because we lost our leather armor to the dragon that KFC'd us moments earlier. At this point, we're doing pretty good. Went exploring, leveled up a little bit. That is about where I am right now. I've died a couple times, obviously, about 20 or so in the first 3 hours. But Dark Souls has prepared me for this. Well, Elden Ring, but that's a Souls game, not important. Anyway, so that is about where I am in terms of other things. During the little hiatus, me, Gideon, and Forrest, and Jake all did a little bit of an SMP that I forgot to mention. we managed to beat the Ender Dragon, make, a Wicked XP farm, full diamond armor, enchanted elytras. Made a cool base. Maybe I'll do a little bit of an update on that, a little bit of an epilogue episode, shall we say, because we haven't really played on it in a while. Speaking of which, that server is on Shockbyte, which you could make your own server, and you could pay a bunch of money on like a different server, but that wouldn't be good, would it? So what you could do instead is go to shockbyte.com, use our code AMAZING, AMAZING, and save, I think, 20%, or maybe it's even 25%, I can't remember, on your first month of server hosting something or other. Anyway, you should do it because it, one, gets us money, and two, gives you a cool server, which is awesome. So yeah, you should go to Shockbyte, and there's not even Minecraft servers. They host Rust servers, Satisfactory servers, Minecraft servers. I don't actually know. They host like a lot. If the game exists and it has a multiplayer function, they probably host servers for it. Those are the only games I play. I don't even play Rust. I just know they host that. But anywho, that is about it. I also did hit 100 stars in Bed Wars in that time. I then also hit 190 stars in Bed Wars in that time. Now 192 stars because of the Slumber Hotel, which gave me a ton of XP. About to hit Gold Prestige, which should be fun. Managed to get my FKDR up to 0.95, up from 0.5, by getting on a 25 win streak, by the way. Cool times. They removed that you can see people in the lobbies now, though, so that's really hard to do because you can't Q-dodge. But regardless, managed to get on that 25 win streak a couple months back. Pretty cool. Just gotten some forest parties and voice chatted up, and managed to get quite a few wins. Our 4v4v4v4 FKDR is now up to like 1.6, which is much higher than it was because I played a bunch of 4s back in the day and lost literally like all of them. Now up to 440 Bed Wars wins. If any of you want to play with me, just party me. I might party you back, depending on who I'm with. If I'm with my friend Jake, probably not. But if I'm not, maybe. I'm not sure. Anyway, that is about it for this episode of the Amazing Minecraft Podcast. Now what you should do is you should listen to the other podcasts episodes because, got to get them downloads and stuff for algorithm something or other. And also, you should use our code and leave us a review. 5 stars preferably, but 1 star if you hate it. I won't judge. I'll just pretend. I'll pretend to judge only, but not actually judging. So, thank you for listening. And sorry for the, casual 6-month break. We're not going to talk about it. We're just going to continue like I didn't just disappear off the face of the planet for 6 months. Bye.